going through this 3 weeks, and we've talked about the physics, some physical items when it comes to hitting, and some physical items when it comes to pitching. And foremost, I think that whole mindset idea uh, has been prevalent. And I just think, from a holistic standpoint, that there is no action that we are doing that we do and that we can do well that doesn't involve some mental aspect of it. And whether it is coming from a good place or from a bad place, there are certainly um, mental. There's a mental makeup that goes into designing what we are going to do next. There's something that must drive us, and when that isn't clear, when it's ill-defined, that's when we create confusion, and that's when we sort of see kids stuck in the mud. This idea of choking, all that stuff, it all comes up as in those areas. So, what I was hoping that we could do, is get you to the understanding that what has gotten you to this point cannot move you further ahead, that you have got to change your thinking again. You have to continue to pivot yourself. You have to continue to evolve, and you want to become the next level of you. And it's not, that we're going backwards and doing any of this. It's this, that we have to find ways just to continue to move up, and what I would call being the next level of you. And to do that, we're always, I think I hammered you pretty well over 3 weeks on focusing on action. Uh, you know, uh, I think clarity creates action. Understanding where you want to get to, the difference between understanding and knowing. Accountability, making sure that you are where you're supposed to be, that you're showing up, that, as Lance likes to say, you're competing in empty rooms. That you're being accountable to yourself foremost. And if that meant, you have to have mom or dad or a good friend or whatever to work out with you, or just to even check in with you, then, please take that step. Hold yourself accountable. You'd be very surprised that once you get into the flow, once you get into that process, how you start to create a deeper understanding of how you're moving, of what you're trying to do. And all of a sudden, that's when we see the explosive growth. When there is a concerned effort at getting better, and to beginning to understand what that means, rather than just taking swings or throws, or just listening to old men like me tell you how to do things. And then obviously you have to do the work, right? You have to get up, right? Never miss a Monday. Okay. Right. So, yeah, I know it's hard. It's a grind. But I'll always tease. We have a good friend, Derek Fravel, and Derek he's in that depth. He understands the depth of that learning. And, we've had guys like that over time. Um, Jared Showalter, Dominic Mazzolo, Mackenzie Shannon right now. These kids truly understand how they're trying, what they're attempting to do, and they're in good touch within themselves. Okay. And from a healthy perspective. But obviously you also have to do the work. So the idea, I kick my kids out at the end of August. I want them to do other sports, other activities. And what that means, though, is there shouldn't have been more than 2 weeks without doing anything. It does mean that once you get rested, you allow that to allow yourself to happen. Maybe you are moving into another sport. If you haven't done that, though, there should be some active physical training perspective going on, even if it's not a skill development training quite yet. So, to sit back and just to allow yourself to get mired in playing video games. And I'm not knocking the video games. I think there's probably a better way for them to fit into your life. That's not why we're here. But what I am saying is, get up off your dupas and get the work done. And I mean, do it well, not just put in the time, or show up and talk and not do anything. We talked about understanding goal setting. And the idea of the goal wasn't so much that actual physical sign in the dirt, that line in the dirt, that throw 90, hit 90, and yeah, hey, we like those, we establish those. What we wanted to understand about goal setting was that ability to take us to a place that we've never been to evolve myself, to see things in a different perspective, to think differently. So to interpret things differently, to feel differently. So to me, that journey, that trek, I would call it your own personal hero's journey, right? So to understand that, uh, rather than just know it, and right, and that idea of setting goals, and as far as the numerical goals, the physical goals, that's not difficult. We start at 90 for seniors in high school, and then you can just backtrack to where you are today. So if you're throwing 75 today and you're in the ninth grade, well, so just take 90 minus 75. It gives you 15. Divide it by 4 years. You have to gain 4 mile an hour a year. Divide that by 12. And you end up coming out with, was it like point 0.3? Like point 0.3, we'll say point 0.4 miles per hour a month. Well, I think that's pretty doable. And now we start to look at how, and now we can even break the month down into that as well. So, so that's how I would go about, establishing the actual physical calendar and setting my milestones as we're moving along to see if I'm staying on track. Right. So we have to track it. Right. I think it's important, we're talking about being uncommon, especially as we're young. We've had many influences, mostly mom and dad, a lot with our friends. Nowadays, you're talking about internet, media, and maybe they're not, they wanted to present all these things, but then the powers that be do not want to accept any responsibility. Uh, you know, on one hand, they claim to be the generation changers, and then on the other hand, they don't want to take responsibility for it. When we see a decay in moral values, what I'm telling you is to be uncommon, you have to find out what your values are and establish them. And don't be afraid to live them. And trust me, I think especially for our young folks, there are a lot of young kids looking at each other. And if you're the kid who is brave, and it takes a courageous young person to stand up and speak of their values and to establish themselves. But I think when you do that, I think you'll find the people that are good in your life will step forward, and you'll create your own movement of sorts, right? Also, we talked about intentional game planning, right? That being proactive in how you create your game, your design, your development design. And we talked about it wanting to be social and academic as well as athletic. So to be very intentional, to create awareness, to create feel in all those aspects. And then finally, to be uncommon, I'm not looking for cause and effect. I'm looking for causing an effect, so that through your hard work, through your perseverance, through your thoughts, the acquisition of your thoughts, the things that you want, the things that you dream of, the things that um, you want to have happen in your life for good, that they start being attractive and showing up in your life, and truly causing an effect for you, okay, as well as for those around you, okay. So ideally, I want to be uncommon. All right. So that's what I want to talk about. Right. So I hope this has been worthwhile for you, for your time. I certainly do hope that. I just want to be a different voice out there for you, and just to let you know what's coming up. So over the next couple of days, I will be back in touch with you. I am working on something that is right along these lines, where we can help each other. But I will be sending you a message, a special message, um, that'll be right here on the Facebook page. So please be on the lookout. I will make sure I get to that within Thursday or Friday. So just be on the lookout. It will come, and I think you get all the notices and everything that happens right there. But I think you'll like what's coming down the pike. If you enjoyed this, you're going to love what's coming. So that much I know.